Alrighty guys, good morning. It's good to have you with us. We're going to hit a full body workout this morning. All you're going to need is a dumbbell. Okay, so we are going to work our way through a warm-up together and then go through 2 blocks of a workout with 3 exercises in each one. So if we start in standing position, all we're going to do is reach up towards the ceiling, bring the arms down, let the body start to roll forward into a hang. And just hang for a few seconds here, allow the structures of the lower back to open out. You can even get a little swing of the hands from side to side. Good, do whatever you need to now. Bend the knees, get the hands back to the floor and step back into a press-up position. From that press-up position, we want a downward dog where we push the hips high to the ceiling. We push the floor away, we keep the knees nice and soft, and we slowly alternate pushing one heel down to the floor at a time. Lovely, good, nice and slowly. Come back into that press-up position. Lower down through the press-up to the floor, and hook the feet, and you can either lift up onto your elbows, or you can push all the way through into an upward dog. Again, we're just going to hang out here for a few seconds before we return back to that press-up position. And then we're going to step one foot up towards one hand. So we're in a nice long lunge position. We want to think about just dropping the hips down towards the floor, playing around with that knee position and also swaying the hips side to side. As we can feel the hips opening up, the hand that's nearest the foot, we're going to take that elbow, point it towards the knee, point it towards the ceiling and open. And we want 3 of those, really deliberate. Point the elbow towards the ankle, your heel, point the elbow to the ceiling, really open the chest, and then turn. One more time. Nice, hand down, step back. And same thing on the other side. I'm just going to turn face on so you guys can see what's happening from a head-on position. Step 1 foot up towards the hand. If you can't get the foot all the way towards the hand, it's not that important, okay? What we don't want to do is have the heel off the floor. Elbow towards your knee, your heel to the ceiling and open. And we need 3 of those. One more time. Excellent. Return to that press-up position, and we're just going to do 4 press-ups. We're going to do them where we reach through and touch our alternate toe. Okay, so up into the press-up position, we hit 1 press-up, push into a down dog and reach through towards the toe. Same on the other side, and 1 more on each side. Good, down to the knees, and then we'll come up onto the feet. Up on our feet, we're just going to work through some different lunges. With the lunges, we're going to do 1 forward lunge, 1 sideways lunge, and 1 step backward into a lunge, okay? So 1 foot's going to stay planted to the floor, and we're going to step forward into the lunge, and then we're going to step the same leg out into a lunge, and then we're going to step the same leg back into a lunge. 2 more times through. Forward lunge, sideways lunge, reverse lunge. On this last time through, I either want you to reach forward around about hip height or reach towards the floor. So I can either reach forwards or I can reach down and down. Beautiful. Same deal now on the other side. So I'm going to step my other leg forward. I'm going to step to the side. And I'm going to step in reverse. Same again, but add the reach. So again, I can either reach forwards or I can reach down. down, and down. Excellent stuff, guys, good. That's our warm-up done. About 5 minutes of warm-up time. Grab yourself a little drink. And once you've had your drink, or as you're having your drink, I'll just explain what we're going to do today. So we're going to work in 12-minute blocks, doing 3 exercises every 2 minutes. Okay, we're going to start with a reverse lunge. So what we've just had in the warm-up, the weight will sit in the opposite hand. Okay, so the weight for the lunge, if I'm going to step back with my right leg, the weight will be in my right hand. I'll step down, back knee towards the floor, and stand back up. Okay, I'll do 5 on one side, 5 on the other, and then going to drop down onto one knee, and I'm going to press for 5 reps on one side, then change over, press for 5 on that side, and then we're going to come back onto our feet for the final exercise in this tricep or giant set. Okay, and the last one we're going to do is an RDL, which is a hip hinge. But we're going to do that with our feet slightly staggered. So the heel of my front foot is going to be level with the toe of my back foot. I'm going to keep both knees nice and soft. Whichever leg is forward, the weight's going to be in the opposite hand, okay? So I'll show you from here. I'm slowly going to lower the weight towards the floor. Once it gets to about knee level, I should have a good stretch in the hamstring. It might happen slightly higher, okay? From that position, notice my back is nice and flat. I stand up thinking about squeezing the glute on that front leg. I'm going to lower and stand. What we don't want is any rounding through the back. We want our chest to stay up high, our hips to go to the rear, and for me to feel that stretch in the hamstring here. I'll do 5 on one side, change my stance, change my grip, and 5 more here. So once we've done those 3 exercises, 5 on each side, we'll rest for the remainder of a 2-minute block, and I'll tell you when we're going to go again. Okay, 2 minutes is plenty of time to get those movements done and the transitions. Don't rush through the movements. Okay? Everyone okay with that? Alrighty. So here we go. We are going to go. I'm going to set the timer. Everyone up and in position. We're starting with the reverse lunge. Reverse lunge, whichever leg steps backwards, that's the hand the weight is going to be in as well. Okay? All right. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Away we go. So, in that reverse lunge, weight in the hand. I step back and down. 1, 2. Making sure that my knee's traveling forward with that front toe. Change sides. Remember, once you finish your lunges, you're going to go into that half kneeling position with the weight in the same hand as the kneeling leg. And then from that position, we press. Keeping the core nice and tight. And then once we've done my 5, I switch stance, switch hands. Good. And then we come up onto the feet to finish. Where I'm back in that staggered position. Weight in the same hand as the back leg. And I lower forwards and stand. Keeping the chest up, keeping my back nice and flat. Weight through the front leg, so I'm not sitting onto my back leg. And then I change stance. Lovely, guys, nice and controlled. And when we finish, control the weight down to the floor. And we've got about 30 seconds before the next round now. Good stuff. So the weight won't feel too heavy, perhaps through the first round or two, but the accumulated fatigue is going to increase and it's going to become more challenging, okay? So we don't need to change the weight. We're going into the next set of lunges in 10 seconds. Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Weight in the same hand as the back leg, and I step back and down. Notice I'm bending at both knees. I'm not sitting onto that back side. And I'm standing back tall to my start point. And then switch hands, and I step back on the other side. So that weight is dropping down somewhere near where my back foot would be. Good. Once you finish the reps, you come down to the floor, back in that half kneeling position, and we press. Making sure that side on, everything stays in a good solid position, and I'm not letting my hips swing forwards or glide forwards. So I'm keeping the core nice and tight. I'm squeezing the glute on my back leg. And then I'm going to come onto my feet for that hip hinge single leg RDL. I'm just going to go slightly side on so you can get a different angle of this now. So I'm loading the front leg. So I want a fair bit of weight going down through that front leg. My hips go backwards. I've got my hand in my lower back so I can feel that it's staying flat. Okay. My chest stays nice and high. I think about keeping my chest away from the floor as I try and lower the weight to the floor. Lovely. Good. Just 5 reps on each side. We've got loads of time now before the next round. We've got 15 seconds. And we're starting with the lunges again. 5, 3, 2, 1. Pick that weight up, and we're looking at dropping the back knee, stepping back and down at the same time. So rather than stepping back, then coming down, coming up and stepping forwards, make it a 2-phase movement, okay? Back and down, forward and up. Switch hands, and we go back with the other knee. Good stuff. Awesome. Once we're finished there, I'm going to come down to my half kneeling position, which is just like the bottom of the lunge. Pick that dumbbell up and press. Notice from that straight on position, I'm not letting things move or lean. Okay. Just good stance, make sure it's good and stable, hand to shoulder. I can use the other hand for a bit of a counterbalance, but I don't want to be leaning back on that press or leaning over to one side. Once you've got your 5 reps in, you come to your feet, into my staggered position, and then front on, we can now really see what's going on with this RDL in the staggered position. Good. Switch hands, stagger the stance to the other side. So you'll notice as well that I'm not allowing that weight to draw me around into that rotation. Shoulders are staying square. Beautiful. When you're done, slowly lower the weight to the floor. You should be in a good groove of what we're doing now. Well, we've got 10 seconds. It's relentless now, guys. So if you are really taking your time with this, you might be getting about 15 to 20 seconds of rest, okay? 3, 2, 1, away we go. That load is starting to kick in a bit now. So with that backward lunge, we don't want to step back on a tight rope. It makes it really challenging from a stability perspective. We're sliding that foot straight back. Lovely. Good. And then we come down into that half kneeling position. We should be really good with the transitions now. So I'm making sure that the glute on my kneeling leg, I'm squeezing that
and then keeping my abs tied in nice and tight so that I don't allow my rib cage to flare. Okay? Good. Thinking about where we're going with our RDLs next. Come to our feet, stagger our stance. Lower that weight down, load the hamstring, come back up. We don't need to be getting the weight all the way to the floor because that's going to possibly round up the lower back. We lower it to the floor, go as low as we can by keeping our chest high. Most of the way through that front leg. Excellent. When we're done, you can rest. Good job. We've got 30 seconds before we go again. Coming up on minute 8. We start one a minute 8, we start one a minute 10. That'll be our 6 rounds. We go in 5, ready for our reverse lunges. 3, 2, 1, here we go. We step back and down. That back knee goes towards the floor. We don't need to step super long. That's going to create a big arch. Okay, depending on your hip flexor strength and length. And we quickly switch over so we can get the reps in and get our recovery time. Thinking about pushing the floor away with that front leg. We then come down to our half kneeling position. I think about keeping my knee underneath my hip, underneath my shoulder, so everything's nicely stacked. Now I switch sides. Breathing where you can. Your breathing rate's probably increasing a little bit now. And then we're in that heel to toe position, hips, feet hip width apart. And we lower under control and stand, keeping the weight over the front leg. You want to feel the load in the hamstring on that front leg. Moving nice and smoothly, nothing jerky. Okay, so we don't want to shoot back up and lock into extension. We keep everything nice and smooth and keep tension through the body all the time. Okay, we don't want to reach the top here. We want to push the floor away, squeezing the hips on that front leg. Good job, guys. 20 seconds. We have 20 seconds to go. We have 10 seconds to go. One more round. Should be nice and warm now. Legs are nicely fired up. 5 seconds. We're into our lunges. Reverse lunge. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Away we go. We step back and down. Come back up. Weight over the front leg, not on the back leg. And we push the floor away. And then we switch hands and step back. Remember, the weight is in same hand as the back leg. From our lunges, we come down into that full half kneel. And we press with the weight in the same hand as the back leg. And then we switch. Awesome. And finally, standing up in our split position, and we think about our hip hinge. So all the movement, or most of the movement, is to come through the hip. We're lowering the weight towards the floor. And the weight's over the front leg, not over the back leg. We switch hands, switch stance, heel to toe position. Excellent, good stuff. When we're done there, take a breather, grab a drink. All right, I'll explain what we're doing next as you have that drink.
Okie dokie, guys. We have another triple header now. Okay, and the first is a lateral lunge. We did the lateral lunge in the warm-up. It's a sideways lunge. Okay. The weight's going to sit in the opposite hand to the leg that's moving. So whichever leg steps out, weight's in the other hand. Okay. I'm going to step up into that lunge, and the weight is going to come down and angle towards the foot. I'm going to push and step back up. Couple of caveats with this movement. We want to keep all the toes pointing forwards. We don't want the sole of the foot to come off the floor or this knee to drop to make it look a bit more like a bit of a normal lunge. We keep our back nice and flat. So from a side-on position, my back's nice and flat, so I'm not rounding. But I am allowed to let my torso turn with the weight. I push back to that start position. Okay? That's our lateral lunge. We're going to get 6 of those on each side. We're then going to do a single arm row. With that single arm row, we're going to go into a split position, a bit longer than we did for the RDL, but the movement is very, very similar. Okay, so I'm going to be down in this low position. I'm going to row my elbow nice and high to the ceiling from a front on position. I'm not allowing that elbow to flare outwards. I want the elbow to be in nice and close, but I'm allowing a little bit of body English as long as my back stays flat. I'm going to allow the weight to pull my shoulder and shoulder blade around into that row. And then I'm going to switch in the stance. Notice my back foot, my heel is off the floor, and then I'll row on the other side. Okay, last 2. And then we're going to finish with the weight in the goblet position, and we're going to hit 5 forward lunges. I said 6 at the start of this round, everything's 5. Okay, 5 lateral lunges on each side, 5 bent over rows on each side, and then we finish in this goblet position, and we are going to step into forward lunges. Okay, if everyone's happy with that, we're going to start in 30 seconds. Grab yourself another drink. I'll talk you through the transitions and keep some coaching points going, but just remember that it's quite a bit of work to get done because we've got to do the reps on both sides. So as we go through the rounds and you get a little bit more fatigued, the transitions become even more important to keep your rest time solid at the end, okay? So we're starting with our lateral lunge, all right? We're going to start in 5 seconds. So whichever leg you're stepping with, I'm going to go this way, so the weight's on my opposite hand. 3, 2, 1, let's go. 1. So you don't need to step too wide, okay? Once you've done our 5, I'm going to come up and I'm going to switch sides. So notice that I'm loading just one leg. Once we're done with our lateral lunges, I'm going to go into my bent over row position. So a little bit of a longer split. Rock over, keep my back flat, and row. Good, and then I'm going to switch sides. Elbow stays close to the body, pulling my hand in towards my rib. And then once I finish my rows, I'm going to bring that weight up. And I'm going to go into a forward lunge in the goblet position. And we're going with it in the goblet position to put a little bit more stress through our quads. And also challenge our core and our upper back a little bit after the row. So you'll notice in that front on position that I'm keeping everything nice and square and lined up. Whew. Haven't got me out of breath a bit with that weight sitting here. Okay, and that's the other challenge as well, is that it's going to put more pressure on the core, make it a little bit harder to breathe.
20 seconds. And we're going back to our lateral lunge. So remember with the lateral lunge, don't step too long, don't step too short. It might take a set or two to get your distance right. And when we plant that foot down out wide, it's a bit counterintuitive, but we want to try and load and push off the inside edge of the foot rather than sitting on the outside edge and letting our weight continue to go to the side. So I'm pushing off the ball of my foot and the inside of my heel there. And then I'm going to switch hands and switch sides. And we power up at that bottom position. And we're going to get ready for our row. So in that row position, I'm going to go head on this time. So I'm not bouncing out the bottom, but I'm letting my shoulder blade go. And I switch hands, switch my stance, making sure that my back foot is away enough so that the dumbbell doesn't hit my leg. And then I'm going to flick that dumbbell up. And I'm going to go into my forward lunge. Both knees dropping towards the floor. I'm powering out. It's a two-phase movement. What I mean by that is we go out and down, back and up, rather than out, down, up, and back. And then we can rest. Get our breathing back under control. We've got 30 seconds before we go again. 2 rounds done, 4 to go. I don't know about you guys, but I'm ready for breakfast now. 10 seconds and we're back to our lateral lunge. I'm going to do these side on to start with. So you can see what's going on through my lower back. Here we go, 3, 2, 1. I step out and down. Nothing changes through my lower back and I pop straight back up. All my toes stay facing forwards. And then I'm going to switch sides. I'll come back to the front here. So I'm allowing that weight to go towards my foot. And then I'm into my single arm row. Control the breath, control the body position. So I switch stance, pick that weight up, my lower back's nice and flat. And nothing changes through my body. It's all arm and shoulder blade. And then I'm going to come into my forward lunges in the goblet position. So in that forward position, that front knee follows where my toe is going. My back knee drops towards the floor. I push the floor away from that bottom position. I don't let the weight pull me forward and down. I've got to be strong, tight through the core, tight through my upper back. We're halfway there, guys. Get your breathing back under control. We've got 20 seconds before we go again. I don't know about you guys, but the sweat is starting to kick in now. Definitely starting to feel the volume creep up. Lateral lunges in 5. Ready, 3, 2, 1. Come on then. On the home straight now. Always stepping back to that start point. Once I'm finished, just to stay in frame, I'm going to move, but hopefully you've got the room to just go side to side. You might notice now that we've got a bit more range in this. All right, as you're getting warmer and your body's figuring out what it is that you actually need to do, good, into the split position for our row. Elbow stays tight. And then put the weight down safely, change sides, rock over, so my back stays flat, and I row here. Good. Once I finish the rows, you can transition however you want. I like to put the weight down so that everything stays nice and safe. And into my lunges. Again, with that lunge, doesn't need to be a huge step forward so that I'm arching my lower back. I want the weight to sit over the front leg, so it actually looks like a squat. Okay? And we use the whole foot to push away from the floor here. We don't want the weight to go forward and our heel to come off the floor. And breathe. We have 2 more rounds to go. The penultimate round starts in about 20 seconds. We go in 10, so make sure your space is nice and clear for our lateral lunges. I'm going to go at a slightly different angle for this set, so again it gives you a better idea of where we're going. Ready? 3, 2, 1, away we go. Controlling, not letting the weight, even as I get tired, I'm not letting the weight pull me out of position. What I mean by that is just rounding through the back or ending it too far to one side. And get into that position, I'm nice and strong and I ping back out. Okay, single arm row. Elbow stays tight, dumbbell comes in towards the ribs. I'm going to put the weight down, I'm going to change my stance. Now, if you've got multiple dumbbells at home, you can do different weights for these exercises depending on how easy or difficult you find them, okay? I'm working with one today because the next jump I've got is a 30 kilo dumbbell and I'd be in serious trouble trying to do all of this with a 30 kilo dumbbell. Into our lunges, we make sure that we step forwards and down at the same time. So our back knee drops towards the floor and I push the floor away to finish. When I say finish, I mean finish the round. We've got 1 more to go. 1 more round. Hope you're all still keeping up, that you're all still with it. Final round is coming up in 10 seconds. It's not about how quickly we finish this round, it's about how much mechanical tension we keep through the muscles, okay? Alrighty, 3, 2, 1, away we go. Lovely, good. Your adductors might be feeling this a little bit today, especially with these lunges, but it's good to move out of just a forwards backwards movement. Keeps the hips and lower back nice and healthy. Going into our single arm row now. Remember, our back stays flat, lower back all the time. We can have a little bit of a round in our upper back because my shoulders getting pulled forwards. And I'm going to change stance and sides. I'm turning around so you can get a better angle, better shot on the video. Lovely. Okay, we're into our forward lunges to finish, goblet position. Here we go. 5 reps on each side. You'll notice that head on, I'm stepping hip width apart. Toes, knees, everything's traveling forwards. Oh, we are done. Good job, guys. Put the weight out to one side. Grab yourself a drink. wipe the sweat down, and we're just going to go into a little bit of a cool down. Open out things that have just had a good old beat in, and then you can get on with your day. I'm available throughout the day today, guys, to answer any health and fitness, well-being related type questions, okay? Breakfast time's a great time, so 10 o'clock, 10:15 at the factory, or whatever time your breakfast is. If you want a bit of a conversation, you've got any questions that you want to ask that are a bit more personal, then feel free to drop me a message and I'll get back to you. 3 o'clock today, which is Thursday, so if you're re-watching this, it might not be on Thursday, but we are going to do a mobility snack this afternoon at 3 o'clock. I'll be doing that live on the Instagram channel, okay? Just 5 minutes of a little bit of movement for the spine and the hips and the neck and shoulders in particular, to get you up from your desk and moving around a little bit. Great if you're working from home. If you're at the office, you can do it too. You might get some funny look stuff. All right, awesome. Okay, so come down, take a knee. So we're in that half kneeling position like we were in when we were doing the press in the first round. Okay, in this position, I want you to reach down, like we're going to tie your laces. You're going to reach out in front and bring the hands up towards the ceiling, and then let your hips drop down towards the floor without increasing that arch in your lower back. So I'm actively reaching up, but trying to get my hips and my hands as far apart from each other as possible. And then just breathe on that. Hold for a second or two. Nice, good. Hands down, either side of the foot. The further forward you put your hands with this, the more you're going to feel a stretch in the hamstrings, okay? So like a sprint to start, but just not too far forward. And then put a little bit of length into the hamstring by straightening that front leg and ease off and go again. Nice and slowly. Feeling where the tension builds. It might be quite high in the hamstring. Notice my leg's not really straight, okay? But I've still got plenty of tension in the hamstring. All right, good. Slowly come on up. Let's change sides. So I'm looking for a roughly a 90-90 position. I might have my front foot slightly further forward, okay, to change the knee angle, because when I reach down and forwards, I sit my weight into that position, bring my hands up through, and now I've got that 90 position, which means I've got plenty of support down through here. I'm reaching the hands tall and getting my hips to drop down towards the floor. Again, just breathe, getting separation between your hand and your hips, feeling that stretch across the head. Nice, good. Hands down, and you're going to come down into an all-four position. And in this all-four position, what we're going to do is we're going to take the knees out really wide and also the feet. And then I'm just going to rock my weight backwards and forwards to open up my hips a little tiny bit. So side on, you'll notice that I'm here, taking my feet out and pointing my toes out, and I'm just rocking backwards and forwards. Opening out the hips. I've just taken a lot of work on today. Excellent, good. Come back to that all-four position. And what we're going to do now from here is a little bit of a glute stretch, okay? So I'm going to take one leg out straight, and I'm going to bring the other foot up underneath the body, and then I'm slowly going to sit back and down into my folded hip. So side on, the other side, I take the leg back, put that foot underneath the body, and then this hip is sitting back towards that back foot. If it gets down towards the floor and you're in that position, what we're going to try to do is keep the back leg straight and drop your body weight in and down to the floor. All right, if you've got enough of a stretch here and you can't get that hip down, or you're getting it down, but you're opening a lot, just stay in that higher position, keep everything straight and work on getting that hip down towards the floor. Good, nice and slowly back up to all fours, and I take the other leg back, bring that foot up underneath the body, and then I slide my hips backwards. And again, if I can get that hip down to the floor without having to turn and open my body up, and I can lower my chest. If you can't, but you've already got a big stretch in the glute at this point, you can stay up and support with your hands. Okay? Good. Alrighty, nice and slowly bring yourself out. Come back to that all four position. And what we're going to do now is a little bit of a thread the needle exercise. So from that all four position, take one hand, reach it right underneath the body, go as far as you can. We're looking to get that shoulder down through towards the floor, turning my torso right underneath that hand. Good, slowly come back out, go one more time. I'm trying to get the shoulder right underneath the body. You get a stretch through the middle of the back and get some real nice rotation through the spine. And then we go on the other side. I'll go face on for this. So from my all four position with my hands under the shoulders, knees under the hips, I reach through as far as I can go. I'm a little bit stiffer this side, so I can't quite get my shoulder into the same position, but that's okay. I'm going to apply a little bit of downward pressure. I feel that stretch in between my shoulder blades. Slowly come back out and go through one more time. Remembering to breathe. Come back out nice and slowly up into a full kneeling position. And we are done.